Yourself a round of applause, because none of this happens without you lot. When we were a group of sort of 10, 15 people and we could fit in someone's living room to discuss this idea, I thought that there might be hundreds of people, none of whom appear to have come up from London, and you're all new, and this is decentralised, and you're doing stuff and you're organising on your own rights is just fantastic to see. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the support and the enthusiasm and the love.
But that's not telling the story of how Extinction Rebellion began, Ian. Come on, you're going to have to tell us.
Well, Extinction Rebellion grew out from Rising Up, and we did several campaigns with Rising Up that involved road blocking, bridge blocking, going to jail, hunger strikes. That was mainly focused on London, around the clean air campaigns called Stop Killing Londoners, and a campaign called Vote No Heathrow around the parliamentary vote on Heathrow last year. So we've spent 2.5 years basically prototyping all the techniques that we're using now in XR. But we hope we're going to learn a lot from you people, because you're going to come up with some new ideas at some point. Need some more creativity.
So the rumour, the legend, and it is a legend already, that there were 15 people in a room. How did the conversation go?
Half of the people in the room said, "That's impossible, you can't do it." We need more capacity, we need more money, we need more time. And every stage in this campaign, a lot of people have said, "It's ridiculous, you can't do it, it won't work and it won't fly." You people here today are the proof that it is. And long may that last.
And what drove you to sit there and think these ridiculous ideas?
The man I'm sure you've heard of called Roger Hallam. He designed most of the Rising Up campaigns. And this was always the big campaign that we were really keen to do. The others were primarily sort of prototyping techniques and various iterations. That's it.
Well, I'm going to answer what drives me to be standing up here too, and it's a kind of desperation to see some change. So I'm going to put words in your mouth there, was that why?
Well, all of us in Rising Up, I think, struggle with this problem. Is this, are we done for or aren't we? And what do you do with that? And for me personally, I'm a Quaker, and the question we start from is, what does love require of us in this situation? It's not about winnable campaigns, it's about doing what's the right thing to do, because it's the right thing to do. Regardless of whether the campaign's winnable or realistic, we can't ask for anything less. The science and the circumstances demand that. So that's where I start from. That obviously is quite demanding. We've had to step up, and this is not something I feel comfortable doing. I prefer doing direct action. I'm an experimenter, and I like taking action. This to me is harder work than that. So thank you for your kindness.
So when you left that room, I think the people who find it hardest to talk about themselves are often the people, well, that's part of Extinction Rebellion's, the people who are quiet in meetings are the people you most want to hear from, and that's one of my motives for getting Ian up here, is that we really do want to hear what he has to say. So when the 15 of you left that room and had decided to go for this big crazy idea, we're going to compete with the Samba band. What working groups did you form on day one? And what did you do? What was step one?
It was a long time ago, and an awful lot has happened since then. Originally, it used to be everybody had to do everything. There were no experts. Everything needed doing. when we paid our visit to our friends at Greenpeace, we managed to scrape up everybody, I think, in the movement, which was about 75 people. And that seemed like a big thing at the time. Ever since it's taken on a momentum essentially of its own, which is what we wanted it to do. You people are making this role now. It's not us, it's you. You're carrying this.
Should we let them go past before we try any more? Itself is a visual display or an oral display as well of how just deciding to do something makes it happen. Because about 2 months ago, Manchester Extinction Rebellion did not have a samba band. But if you decide to have a rebellion, you better get one, haven't you? So, someone decides they're going to make it happen. There we have it. You can all do that too. Decide you're going to make something happen and just make it happen. Right, Ian, my next question. What do you think is distinctive about Extinction Rebellion?
Samba bands is one of them. And if anyone was there in London, in Parliament Square, when the mass arrests were going on, and the Samba band came down this road, you know, it was like the Roman legions arriving in support. It was, if you want to do something that's non-arrestable, get a drum. Get a drum. You know, 100 drums in the Samba band is worth, you know, 100 policemen on the street trying to arrest people. Worth their weight in gold. What was the question again? What's this thing about XR? The fact that we're telling the truth. Previously, people within Rising Up have been and spoken to people in various NGOs, and they'd all said it's impossible, you can't tell people this stuff. They'll just go and tick their bucket lists, and they'll stop their direct debits to us because of the bad news. But the important thing is to do what needs doing, and that's, I think, the key difference. As we were saying, what has to be done, what does the science demand, not what's politically feasible or what's organisationally practical. And it's this, you know, being those unreasonable people that progress relies on to move forward. Yeah, regenerative culture as well. And I think the feminine in XR is really important. The way it's got this softer side, and we've got Gail Bradbrook to thank for that. You know, I undoubtedly stand here on Gail's shoulders, and all that she's brought to it is because it's not just this is the problem, we've got to solve it in a sort of really macho and direct way. It's this beautiful, soft, indirect, and sort of yielding approach to things, and organisation, and development, and this taking care of the people who are joining us. And that spirit of love, essentially. So, you know, long may that last, and I can sort of feel it here. Thank you.
What would you like us to really take hold of going forward from where we are today, September the 1st, looking ahead into October, and who knows what's going to happen after that? What would you like to say to us, the growing Extinction Rebellion in the north, you know, that you'd really like us to get?
There's one of the sort of directives in Quakers, within the Quakers, is to live adventurously, which means you have to proceed not knowing how things are going to pan out, just have to proceed on what appears to be the right path and go down that path. We don't know where it's going. Nobody knows how this situation is going to pan out. You know, what's going to happen politically or environmentally. So we've to move forward on that basis without focusing on the outcomes. No one can promise you a good result in October. We hope and pray for one. But we have to just literally be adventurous, and we have to proceed on that basis. And if we love each other and work as a community on the way, then there's a very good chance we'll succeed.
So let's just repeat that ourselves so that we've heard it. I'm hearing live adventurously and do the right thing. Am I hearing you right? Yeah. Have we got that? Extinction Rebellion in the north. Live adventurously, do the right thing. It feels scary, but we've got to do it. And when we consider the alternatives, it's not anything like as scary as that. So let's take hold of that. Now, Ian, you referred briefly to starting out in London, trialling things. Tell us about that first roadblock. Tell us what it was like.
Well, the first bridge block we did was Tower Bridge with 8 people and 1 legal observer and 2 welfare people. And we held Tower Bridge for about 3.5 hours. So it was just a case of just going and doing it. You know, it needed doing. You know, people in London are dying of it from air pollution, and I gather they are at Deansgate as well. I gather this is one of the most polluted streets in the country. So we sat down and we took that, and then we, as we say, next time we're always accountable for what we do, which seems to give it a lot of power. The fact that we're there fully accountable. I think in the end we got conditional discharges, but you know, we prove we can do it. You can take a bridge, you can take it with 8 people. So if you've got 800, then it's easy work. You know, no one's getting arrested. So bear that in mind. The more of you there are, the safer it is, and the easier the work is. It's, you know, many hands make light work.
Yeah, I certainly learned that. My first experience in London was on Waterloo Bridge, as perhaps many of you here were, and we were terrified as we walked round the corner thinking we were going to have to step onto Waterloo Bridge, only to find that there were people there already and they'd done it. And all we had to do was join them. What a lovely surprise. And of course then the more people there were, the more fun it was, the better the day went. So yeah, let's just remember that. So if you were to write the script for October, and I know from whenever it was when you were 15 people in the room, April last year, was it? Something like that? Was it? Yeah. So if they would never have written the script for what did happen to date, we can have no idea what's going to happen really. We've just got to do the right thing and be adventurous. But if you were to say how you'd love it to go in October, what would your dream be?
That you all turn up and bring your friends and keep this sort of loving atmosphere. That's the key to it. You know, it's brilliant to see people here with their children and everything else. That gives it massive power. You know, the children and the elders really give us a lot of power. So yeah, come, bring your friends. We'll see what happens, and come, you know, come adventurously.
So I'm going to speak for myself now, and I suspect for many people here, certainly if you're any age like me, the last 20 years has been a growing I'll start to cry if I really describe how I've felt over the last 20 years. And so I had got to the point of saying to my family when there was another piece of news that just, I couldn't believe politicians had made yet another bad decision and were taking things in the wrong way, I'd say, I'm just going to lock myself to a railing somewhere. But I didn't really know how to do that, how to be effective, how to go about that. And when I first read the article in The Guardian by George Monbiot, which was my entree, I knew that, that sounds like what I need to do, and here we are. So I want to say a massive thank you to those people who pioneered. I don't think we appreciate just how difficult it is to be the first doing something, to lead the way, to take the responsibility. I know if you're leading a local group or involved with a local group, even that can seem like a weighty responsibility, but imagine what it feels like to be the pioneer of a new pathway that no one's done before. I suspect is more of a burden than we realise. So I want to say a very massive thank you to you, Ian, in your humble serving. Would rather be Would rather be serving than leading. Those are the kind of leaders we want. Totally. Okay. If you want to hear a bit more from Ian, we'll be in the Rebel workshop from 2 o'clock in 10 minutes or so. Have a chance for a drink first. And in a few minutes, I think we've got Julia Steinberger, who is one of the members of the international panel, well, who knows what it's called, IPCC, that's the bit I know. And she's going to speak from the main stage here. So we're very honoured to have her here.